And we're live. Hey everyone, and welcome to the info session for the Firehose Project. I'm Marco. I'm one of the co-mentors here at the Firehose Project, and I'm stoked you guys are all here. So let's go through what are we going to cover here, right? So you all came because you want to know a little bit about, okay, those guys say they have a core curriculum, they have a really flexible curriculum. How do they adjust their curriculum for like job seekers, entrepreneurs, or people who like want to innovate on the job? And I also want to explain a little bit how our mentorship sessions work, what our mentors do, what happens during a mentorship session when you have them every week, and then also like, kind of the biggest question. It's like, hey, what kind of skills can I expect coming out of the Firehose Project? What do I walk away with? What can I do? So let's jump straight in, right? Let's go through our core curriculum so you guys get a better understanding of what we're doing, what we're teaching you guys. And then at the very end, right underneath my little face here, there's the question box. So type any questions in, and I'll go through and answer all of them as good as I can. Okay, core curriculum, right? What does that mean? So first of all, it's like 12 weeks, right? That's the length of the program that we're running our students through right now. And in those 12 weeks, we want you to build several web applications and launch them on the internet, right? So before we go into the details of what those are, it's like the big concept is always like, we're building stuff that looks good, right? The goal is you're at a party, you pull out your phone, and you say, hey, look, this is what I built last night. And your friends are gonna be like, oh, wow, you did this? That's the goal that we're shooting for. So that means everything we build needs to look good, needs to have a good user interface, and needs to look good on mobile, tablet, and desktop, right? So that's kind of like the standard that we're setting for everything that we build. And then we always build real-world web applications, right? Stuff that you are proud to share with your family and friends. So that's kind of like the premise of like everything that we do. And then we jump in, right? So in the first actually 10 hours, usually takes about 2-3 days for our students, we want you to build and launch a fully functional web application. It's an advice generating application. It's something fairly simple from a user interface, but it is something that gives you like a 360-degree roundhouse overview of all the tools that you're going to use as a professional web developer. So there's going to be, you need to know your text editor. There's going to be like HTML, CSS. You're going to write some Ruby code. You need to get used to the Rails framework, right? You need to interact with your database. You need to write loops. You need to like store things in a database. You got to retrieve things in a database. You need to ship things up to GitHub. You need to put things live on a server. That's what you learn in the first 10 hours, right? So in those 10 hours, you get to touch all these tools and you launch something, right? It's always learning by doing, because that's what we really believe. How you learn coding is by doing something and applying it to an actual real-world project, and then you ship it out, and you get a URL, and you can share it with your friends, and then you get that feedback. And that's really powerful when you start coding, getting feedback from real users. And if we like zoom out even more, right? If you think about a startup, the successful startups are the ones who listen to user feedback and implement that into their application, into their apps, whatever they're building. And the faster you can implement that user feedback, the better. So putting you in a driver's seat after 10 hours is our goal for the very first couple of days when you build that first application. And then we move you on, right? Then it's like, okay, how can we keep your learning curve steep? So the next application you build with us is a Yelp clone, right? So everyone is usually familiar with Yelp, so I don't need to describe what Yelp does. But basically, you build features like a map, right? Pins on maps. I think that's one of the best features that we built during the Yelp clone. So basically, how does this work, right? The user comes to your site, they enter an address. That address gets saved to database. We're writing the code to translate that address into latitude and longitude coordinates. And then we take that and we integrate with the Google Map API and pass those parameters onto the API, and then you get that pin on the map. Now, obviously, we need more features than just that to make a good application. So the other things that we do is like we have comments. User can comment if somebody creates a place, and I say, hey, I'm Marco, this is my awesome famous pizza place right here in Boston. Then you can go and comment on that. You can give me star ratings, right? If I see that you came to me and gave me a rating, I get an email notification that says, hey, Joey over in New York just gave you a rating on your pizza place, and I see what the rating is and I can respond, right? That's a common feature that a lot of applications are using, and you should learn how to build that too. And then we also build a little bit of a dashboard for every single user with their places, so I can see, like, if I have multiple pizza places, I can see, oh, how many of those places have I set up? What are my metrics on those? How many stars? What my ratings are? how many comments have I received, how many comments have I given, right? A simple dashboard with simple analytics, but that's something really good, bringing all those things together in one place, not only from the user experience, but also thinking about you and what you want to learn when you build that out, when you write the code to make that happen. Okay, now we're in week 4. You have 2 web applications live on the internet, and hopefully you use them for something, right? You adjust them to what you need. So to give you a bit of an example, like one of our students, Pete, he's really into horse track racing, I should say. I don't know anything about that sport, but he used that Yelp clone to actually map out all the horse race tracks all over the US, because according to him, and he knows that stuff way better than I do, there wasn't a good place with horse race tracks all over the US. And now he even takes that further, and right now he's building out part of his capstone project, which I'll explain in a moment, and he's adding analytical features to that so people can be smarter when they bet on horses on horse race tracks on Sunday, and apparently him and all his friends loving it and using it every week. So that's just an example, like use those applications and adjust them so they work for you and for your friends, or something that you are passionate about and doing. So always think about that Yelp clone. How can I make something cool that uses those features, right? So first 4 weeks are over, we're moving on. This is still the core curriculum, right? We're going on, and next thing in the next 4 weeks, that's week 4 to 8, we're gonna build an online learning platform with you. And when I say platform, that means that there's multiple users that can sign up, right? So we say online learning platform. So let's just imagine like a video platform like Udemy or Skillshare or anything like that. There can be people instructors can sign up on your platform, they create video content, and there's users on the other side that can sign up, and they can purchase that content from the instructors, right? So we already see like, oh wow, there's a lot of like relationships happening. And one of the key things that you're gonna take away from building that online learning platform is the relationships on a database level, right? How do I keep track of the students or the users signing up for which course, which videos did they already see, which one can they still see, for which one did they pay, right? Obviously, we need to integrate with a payment API here to accept credit cards, because, hey, come on, you guys want to make money out of that platform immediately in month 2 with the Firehose project, right? So that is why we're building this. So it really goes deep into database relationships, and that's for all you job seekers out there, critical skill to have to find a job afterwards, database relationships. So that's why we're putting a huge emphasis there. And also for like, you know, if you guys think about entrepreneurs, like accepting credit cards is a key feature because you want to get paid. And so those are some of the features. Then we obviously make the user experience. We start going into JavaScript a lot during that application, because there are some things that we want to do on the screen without page reloads, like reorganizing the lessons. That's all for the instructors, so they have an easier time when they sign up to our platform. So that's the point when we introduce JavaScript, and you're actually building real features by using JavaScript on top of the Ruby on Rails platform to make the user experience better. So that's taken you about another 4 weeks, right? Payment integration, those database relationships, obviously the whole user interface, people can sign up, user authentication, forgot your password, all that stuff, we include that too. Now that's the core curriculum, right? The very beginning of our program, we ask each of our students, what is your goal? And what is your goal precisely? And we want to know that goal for one reason, so we can help you get to that goal. And that's where the mentors come in, right? At the beginning you said, hey, we're going to talk about mentorship sessions. Now that's that part. So mentors, right? You get weekly mentorship sessions. Generally, mentorship sessions last from anything like an hour, hour and a half, once a week, right? You can split them up, you can have 2 a week, but generally we take the mentorship sessions to go and give you additional challenges and build features with you based on what you need to know to reach your goal. Say you want to have a job, right? It's really important to know the database relationships. It's really important to know algorithms. It's really important to be prepared for whiteboarding exercises during a technical interview. That's what your mentors are going to do with you if you want to have a job, right? Then there's differences. If you want to have a job at a startup versus if you have a job at a more established, maybe mid-sized tech company, right? So those are all the differences that your mentor takes into consideration for your personal goal, and then adjusts the curriculum outside of the core curriculum for you, so you have those skills. But we're only 8 weeks into the program, right? So what happens for the job seekers after those first 8 weeks? We then take you and we're going to put you on a group project, right? And that's really key, because if you want to get a job, you need to know how to work and collaborate on coding projects as a team, right? Code collaboration is the key word here. And that's best learned, well, by doing it again. Same way as we do it with learning how to code, by building real-world web applications. We're throwing you in a real-world situation where you know how to interact as a team. So how does that work in practice? Right now we have students, one from LA, one from Munich, and one here from Boston, all over the world. And they're working on a platform that teaches other people how to prepare for the technical training interview, right? And they need to collaborate. We gave them the specifications of how this thing should look and what it should do. And they need to communicate, right? And now they're gaining the skills of, like, not only I'm writing code, and we're using GitHub for that, which is the same tool as all the startups are using. How do I communicate with the other developers on my team what to build? But also, like, if they submit some code, how do I review that code? Which code do I reject? Which code do I accept? How do I make that feature better by writing my own code, right? And managing all this is key, and the technical hiring managers of your future employer, they're going to look at that, and they can track every single code that you wrote, line of code that you wrote, and also what you accepted and how you interacted with the other developers. And so they know, like, oh, this is a person, actually. If I bring that on the team, that person has impact on day one, because they already know how to use the tools for coding collaboration and how to work with the team, and have proof over here how they've done it. And then just think about if you walk into a technical interview and you say, like, oh, a project that I built was actually a platform teaching right now 100, 200, doesn't matter how many students, how to prepare for the technical interview. So yeah, hit me with your question. Changes the game completely when you walk into an interview. That's just what some of our students are building during their group project phase right now. And then now there's also entrepreneurs that come into our project, right? So we have one guy, Steven, that I love to cite. So he came to us and he's like, I want to build my own startup. And we asked him what it is. So we started wireframing a lot, right? User experience becomes a lot more critical when we actually want to build applications that users love and really want to do. So that's what his mentorship sessions focused on user experience and building the features that he wanted. So what did he build? Well, he built basically an Uber clone, an on-demand delivery platform for medical or prescription marijuana, right? So that's what he built. So people can go, as like, I want however many grams they want to order, and then they see a car driving to them, pick it up right out of the door, and they walk back up into their apartment, payment already handled. That's what he built. So he got obviously different training, different mentorship sessions after the core curriculum, or even during the core curriculum while he was going through that. So that's kind of like how we adjust the curriculum and where the mentorship sessions come in. Entrepreneurs get different mentorship sessions than people who are seeking jobs, or maybe want to stay in their job and innovate on their job and build web application for their own company. So those are the similar ones. Now, if we're thinking about, like, well, what kind of skills can I get out of the Firehose project, right? So the simple sentence is, if you're done with the Firehose project, you're one of our graduates, and you think of an idea of a web application that you want to build, you can go, oh, okay, and you sit down on the weekend and you ship your first version by the end of the weekend, or like 3 days later. You can build what you think about. That's the skills that we're giving people. And that's really powerful, because I have ideas all the time. It's really cool if I can just go and build them and don't have to, like, talk to other people or, like, hire somebody to build them. Yeah, that's the main skill that we're giving people. And obviously, if you want to find a job, that's the core training that you're going to get to find that job, to land that job at a startup. That's pretty much in essence it. Now, usually questions come up. Okay, Margaret, tell me a little bit about mentorship session, right? Tell me a little bit about details of the program, right? So what kind of other help do you have, right? So you have the mentors. There's actually more help that we've given you guys. And one of the things that I always think is, like, no one believes me that in the beginning, but then when students go through, they really start valuing it, is our question and answers forum, right? So let's say Thursday night, you're coding and you're, like, running into an error message, and you go through how we taught you how to troubleshoot yourself, but you can't fix it. You can't figure it out. There's a forum. You can go in there. You can clearly say, hey, this is what I did. This is what I expected, but here's a weird error message that I'm seeing. Can you help me? So we have dedicated mentors in our forum, and they get back to you within hours, and they say, hey, look, on line 5, you're missing a semicolon. On line 24, hey, you're missing an equal sign there, and this is why. And they're like, oh, thanks so much. And you can change that, and then you get rid of your error message, and you can continue learning, and you not being stuck and spending a day or two not knowing what to do. But you can continue focusing your energy on learning rather than being stuck and spinning in circles. And that does something really well, because you arrive at the mentorship sessions without errors in your application, right? So that means now I'm, as a co-mentor, I can help you building something that matters to you, or teach you an additional skill that matters for reaching your goal, rather than spending 45 minutes finding typos in your code. I can take care of all of this in the forum. I don't have to use our valuable one-on-one time to fix like typos in your code. That we can take care of before. And then we also have like weekly office hours, right? I like all the students to hang out with each other and get to know each other. So what we do is like we invite everyone to Google Hangout, and in that Hangout we do error message troubleshooting, we go over big concepts, right? People who may be like 4 weeks ahead of you ask questions, and you who might have just started, we had that happen yesterday, they're like, oh wow, this is where I'm gonna go, and I kind of understand like the big picture already. This is really helpful. And then on the other hand, if you just started in week 1 or 2 and you have a question, oftentimes the other students jump in and they solve that error message for you, and that helps them like, oh, how do I explain it to somebody who's in the same shoes I was like 4 weeks earlier? That really helps them, and then it also helps students who get the error message troubleshot and fix. So that's kind of like the whole helping process that we do. And then now here's the things, like we say 12 weeks, right? We expect hours to put in. We say a minimum of 15 dedicated coding hours per week. You can put in as much as you want, right? There's people like our student Ilya in Munich, Germany right now, who already got a job offer and he's not even done with the program. So he put in, I'd say, about 40 hours a week, right? He was like, I'm full-time in on this, right? And that's great. So he can focus a lot more time on a group project and build the application even better, which helps him gain more skills, and he has the mentors to support him to learn additional skills. And then there's people who are like entrepreneurial, and once they hit their capstone project where they build out their own idea, like Steven, you really get passionate and you're like, wow, it's 1 in the morning, I'm still coding, I don't want to sleep, because you're so passionate about getting your own idea live. So again, 15 hours per week minimum, but we welcome you to put in more hours. If you want a job, we usually suggest you should put between 20 and 25 hours per week into it, so we can give you all those skills that are really relevant for finding a job and being a junior web developer on a team. So now I'm going to quickly check and see if we have some questions. I usually get a few, and then also usually get some via email. So I'm quickly going to check on this. Don't have anyone here. Oh, here's one via email. Like, okay, what's the cost of this? Just want to repeat it. We have it on the website. Cost of the whole thing, 12 weeks, all the mentorship sessions, all the office hours, forum access. Right now it's $4,500. We have different payment plans. So if you pay everything up front, we give you currently a $500 discount. And then there's like, you can pay monthly, 3 installments. You can also pay 5 monthly installments of $900. So those are different payment plans that you can do. And then, oh, there's another one. I got another email here. What kind of technologies are you teaching, right? So I mentioned that kind of briefly. So it's Ruby on Rails. We're doing JavaScript. Then you obviously learn GitHub and Git, so version control and backing your code up in the cloud, and then code collaboration, how to work together with your mentor, how to work together on a group project. And then it's also Postgres is the database. You learn Heroku, that's your server, how to get something on it live on the internet. And obviously you need to know HTML and CSS3, right? You want this stuff to look good, good user interface, and that's what we're using that for. So I think that's kind of like the broad overview of the technologies we're using. There's a few other ones, but those are like the core things that you're going to take out of that program. I'm going to check again if I have some more questions. Nope, no questions here. Let me check if I missed anything on the other side. Cool. Oh, here's a good one. Get that via email too. Guys, you can use the thing right below me too. That works for questions too, the little question box. So the question was, how can I start? Like, what's the onboarding process? That's a great question. So the way we do this is we have all of our students go through an application process. So that usually means I give you a challenge of what you need to complete. Usually it's make a splash page, put it up on a server. I want to see some code that you already written, you know. And then from there we have a conversation, and then we figure out what's your personal goal. And I really want to know, can we give you the skills to reach that goal? That's really important for us. So there's always going to be a challenge, a conversation beforehand, and then we see when we start. Right now we start students every Monday. Right now I think we have spots left open at the end of the month and beginning of next month. So that's what we're looking at right now. And then there might be sometimes students who already wanted to start and move their date to a later date, so there can always be some open in the coming weeks. But generally it's like every Monday we start students, and right now we're looking at like you can start in 2-3 weeks if you wanted to. Looking at if I got another question. More people are going to watch. That's great. All right, guys, if you don't have any questions, I'm all good. Here's what we're gonna do. If you think about anything that you wanted to know, if you want to jump on the phone with me, if you have more questions, you got my email. Reply to that one, say, hey, Marco, thumbs up, I liked what you told me, or actually, no, this wasn't helpful at all. I have still a million questions, and then we figure something out. Either we jump on the phone, figure out what your coding background is, what your goals are, and how we can help you achieve those goals. So email me, and I'm happy to help you guys out. So this was super fun, and yeah, take it easy, stay awesome, guys.